All right, Formula One Philosophy is back for the Singapore Grand Prix recap. This is part one, the good. Let's get into it, Sean. Who are
You
your
seem
goods?
awfully chipper.
I had lamb for dinner.
Hmm. You seem to have lamb a lot.
What's wrong with lamb?
I'm not a particular fan, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I think out of anybody I talk to, you're the only person who mentions having lamb regularly.
Well, I would say it's. I guess we do talk like every couple weeks, right? So it's. I try and have it like once a month, and I always see lamb legs on special. So I'm like, why wouldn't I cook all this meat for cheap? And then
You do you.
make myself gassy for weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
I
right.
feel sorry for the other inhabitants of your house.
Oh, don't. They're all better farters than I am, including my baby daughter.
Well, that's a given. Newborns are notoriously gassy.
Chip off the old block. I'm so proud. All right. You want to start with your good?
Sure.
I could start if
I mean, it might be quick.
I could start if you want me to lube you up, as Hugh Grant says in The Gentleman.
Lube away, Nick. Lube away.
Oh boy. All right. So I thought you said move away, so I thought you were going to lube me up, but now I caught that. George Russell, Grand Prix winner, second time this season, rounds out a pretty standard top 10. No real surprises in there. Dominates from pole, lights out, 62 laps. We've been really hard on him this season, and I know we think Mercedes would be better without him, right? Like we think the Mercedes car might be pretty good. It's just he's holding it back, and that I always get pissed at him for his attitude, the way he talks sometimes. Like he tries to make it a dramatic fight between him and Max, even though Max probably doesn't really even think about him. But this really culminated, I think, his season, just like this up and down but solid season he's been having. And he's able to win when the car's right and nothing else. And we got to start giving it to him, right? We got to give him his dues. Like he's never going to be a champion in our eyes. He's never going to be that good, but that was a good win. That was a good win. So I want to give it to him. And yeah. Go on.
I'll give it to him as a good for this week. He got out there and he deserved that win. You know, he put in the work. Let's call it that. He had a really weird fucking crash FP1. I believe he had another spin or something funky happened FP2 as well. And he looked like he wasn't going to be able to put it together. And he went out and he did his homework and put it on pole, won the race. Kind of, it wasn't effortless, but as close to effortless as he could manage. So it was definitely a good weekend for him. Good weekend for Mercedes as a whole. So I'll give you that. I will say, I have to bring you down a little bit. His season has not been solid. He's in fourth place. I think this will be the peak of his career. This is where he belongs. I don't see much more coming from him. He talks big, but it's never there. And I actually heard an analysis of his performance since becoming a Mercedes driver from someone who really doesn't have a whole lot of, let's say, valuable insight in the F1 field. But the comment was basically, if you look at how he performed with Hamilton as a teammate, he typically started off behind Hamilton, right? FP1, FP2, FP3. So FP1, he would be behind Lewis. Lewis would be ahead in the standings. FP2, he'd get a little closer. By FP3, he was maybe outperforming Lewis. and then he would typically outqualify Lewis. But he always had to do the homework, right? He always had to sit there and look at what was happening. And effectively, that's what happened this weekend because Kimi looked good in practice. George, that issue where that spin, the crash that he had in FP1, looked like a pretty rookie move. It was an odd, ambiguous kind of lock-up and loose moment that led to it. But it looked like a rookie error. FP2, maybe trying to make up for lost time, did something similar but didn't wreck the car. And then out of nowhere, he's back and he outqualifies Kimi, and it goes that way. So that kind of tells me that he has the potential, but he can't put it together on his own, right? And to fall into this nonsense Netflix dramatized narrative that they've created for Mercedes, he shouldn't be the lead driver. He doesn't have what it takes to actually put the car together, it seems, because his best results come when he copies his teammates' homework.
That's amazing analysis. I've never thought of that. I never noticed that, but like as you say it, it makes so much sense. He was never that good. He was just someone who could learn by repetition. I guess watch it enough times, watch my mistakes or watch my teammates' mistakes enough times, and I can figure it out at one moment.
He is AI, right? This is what I've been pushing all year. There's something weird about him. He doesn't exist. He's not real. He is an AI model. You feed data into it, in this case, his teammates' data, and you get something out.
Wow.
Which in theory should make him the next Max Verstappen. But he can't develop anything. So now he's up shit's creek with a rookie teammate who's inconsistent, and he doesn't have any homework to cheat off of. So the car's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have nothing else to add to that. All I'll say is Max is a cyborg. So you're right. He is a human with robotic parts. So he can technically create. George is just AI. Wow. That's why they hate each other.
I would love for someone in an F1 press conference to ask George what it feels like to be human.
We'll see the sparks.
Or even better yet, someone just pull up the questions from the Turing test and start railing them out to him in a press conference.
This is why we need to keep going as a podcast. We need to get famous enough that we can do that. That's our goal. We need weird goals that make us, like vindictive goals that make us want to keep going just to ask a horrible question once and then ride into the sunset.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody from George's management or PR teams is listening, we'd be more than willing to have him on here and do a Turing test with him to prove that he's not a robot.
You heard it here,
that he's
Total
a real
Wolf.
boy.
Total Wolf, we're looking at you. We're calling you out. Wow. Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be a champion. You're right. And they're probably right. This is where he belongs, this level. It's just maybe we should be less biased to him from time to time. Not every time.
I mean, I'm willing to give him the good this week. He did what he needed to. I have no complaints. I have no caveats about the win. He got out there and he did it. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's his second of the year?
Yeah. Half as many as Lando Norris.
There you go. Wow, that's a stat.
Actually, I think Lando has 5 now. But if, and more on this in the second part, if McLaren wasn't messing around with Oscar, Lando would probably only have 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah.
Any other goods for you this week?
I guess honorable mention to Mercedes. It was a weekend that came together for them. I mean, ideally, Antonelli would have been higher up there, but given his recent form, he did okay. I'll also give a shout out to Sainz. Started in 18th, finished in 10th. So, I mean, it's a decent progression up the field in a race where I don't think we ever actually saw him do anything. So I don't know where those places came from, but he got up there. And then the other main thing I took away from that race was Behrman apparently has been listening to us and didn't like my criticism of him. And he put a beautiful move on Alex Albon in the race and nailed it perfectly in probably one of the most treacherous corners on the track.
I did see that.
Not sure if you saw that one.
I did. It was good.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. And to keep it within track limits to the point where nobody even complained. They just said, "What? How? It's beautiful. He did it." Yeah, and then ended up in 9th place. So scored points, which he needed. So yeah, it was a good weekend for him.
My complaint about him is not that he's not. Well, I do think he's terrible, but my complaint about him has always been he has a ceiling, and I think that just his 9th is his ceiling, 9th, 10th, that area. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just never thought much of him. I just don't think you gamble your team, especially like in the situation of Haas. We'll talk about it at the end of the season, like how much of a disappointment they've been. And that he was supposed to be part of the guiding light, him and Ocon, and they've both just not been what they're supposed to. They're not offering much in terms of growth, and he just seems to have a ceiling. Him and Ocon just seem to be people that just need to be parked somewhere on a strategy that's unaffected by anybody else and hope for the best. Because he did get help from the fact that both Williams were disqualified and Hadjar had a power issue. Shout out to Isaac Hadjar. Once again, 3/4 tenths off the pace because of a power issue again. He's had that several times this season. Still came 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Still came 11th.
Yep.
And as for Sainz, the consistency's there now. This is what we talked about last week. Now that he's had the exceptional result, the consistency will come. And so I think we're going to see him in the points quite a bit until the end of the season. So good on him. Whereas Alex has fallen off, unfortunately, at least these last 2 races. Hopefully he makes a comeback and they solidify 5th. Yeah, so is that it for your good this week? Because I got a couple more.
Yeah, I think in general that's it for me.
We'll elicit some discussion here. I think everybody's going to be surprised by this. I'm going to put Lando Norris in the good. I think what he did was bad, right? But in terms of like, if we're just saying for a good weekend, yeah, what he did was bad. Yeah, he underachieved, but we finally saw the feistiness, right? We finally saw the feistiness, and yeah, we're going to talk about this more in the second half, I imagine. I'm not giving him a pass for anything. I'm not saying he's become something new. I just think this is what he finally needed to do. Instead of having a bad start for once, he had a good start. I fully expected him to be 7th or 8th after the first couple corners and fall off.
Yeah, well, he's Lando Norris. He loses places at the start, right?
Exactly, and that would have been catastrophic for him. But instead, he luck boxed his way into 3rd, I think. And he showed some feistiness. He showed some grit. Did poorly. Shows he doesn't really have it. But that's his best rendition is, hitting his teammate, hitting the back of Max Verstappen. We don't know if Max Verstappen had a issue because he seemed to have rear issues with his rear for the rest of the race, which if it was brought on by Norris, we don't know. Maybe it was just the erraticness of the Red Bull. But at least Norris tried for once. So I'm going to give it to him. I am going to give it to him. How he didn't get a penalty for his front wing, that's not a question for me. How his team didn't reel him in, I don't know. But at least he went for it this week. Caveat, just a quick caveat before you comment. He showed once again, heads up, he cannot beat Max. 16 laps with a faster car and he could not get by Max. That's a little worrisome.
Yep.
Anyways, what are your thoughts?
I think your caveat's valid. People keep saying that it's difficult to pass around Singapore. Well, go talk to Ollie Behrman about that one. Apparently he didn't get the memo.
Or Sainz.
It is possible. And they've changed the track to make it possible, right? By taking out that portion under the bridge, they've made the last half of the last third of the circuit faster, and they've given that opportunity. And yeah, it's a tricky corner because if you get too greedy on the inside curb, you're going straight to the outside wall. And if you're Liam Lawson, you found out the hard way that even once you're out of that chicane, there's still another wall on the opposite side you have to worry about. So it is tricky, but it's not impossible, right? What I think caused a lot of problems is that Fernando Alonso, for some reason, thought he had to hold the pack up again. For no reason. He wasn't rear gunning for Stroll. Stroll was behind him. Maybe nobody told him. But that's kind of where I think the problem stemmed with a lot of the non-passing, is that people got stuck behind Alonso, who wants to park it in the middle of the track and not let anybody by. And if he's good at anything, it's that. But Lando, getting back on topic here, could have put a move on Max. I don't think he had the balls to do it.
Yeah, yes.
So he had the balls up front to fight his teammate. I'll give you that. It's a good for him in the sense that he found some courage to fight Oscar. But where was it the rest of the race? He just kind of accepted his fate, right? So I think it's the courage came from knowing that no matter what he did, the team wasn't going to get pissed at him.
Yeah.
Sure. My feelings toward Lando have shifted somewhat since that nonsense in Monza, sorry. In Monza. So yeah, that's all I can really comment there. I mean, it was an ambitious move at the start. I don't know what the plan was, but ultimately he got where he wanted to be. So
it was unlike Max and Zandvoort. You know how Max went offline, almost lost it, but then kept second?
Yes.
Lando lost it. He was just lucky he didn't crash. And I think like Piastri was trying to keep his line and then reward himself for the straight, but then next thing you know, he's being smacked off. And it definitely rattled Oscar the rest of the race. You could see. But I just think he's just a sloppy version of, like, he wants to be someone like Max, but he really, when he's in his proper zone, he's nowhere near him, right? He's not that aggressive driver. It was unnatural to him, and I think he got lucky.
Yeah.
But we'll still give it to him. No, notice, though, he's very happy when him and Oscar are in that like third to fifth range. There's less pressure on him when they know that he knows he's not fighting for a win. I've said this about him, and I've said this about Leclerc, and I said it solo in the summer. You switch Charles and Lando, and it's the same story. The exact same story both ways. They're the most comfortable when there's absolutely no pressure on them to win. You'll see the best of them then. And that's worrisome for the driver's title. But we'll get into that later.
Now, let me pose a question here, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with your assessment. I would have earlier in the season, and I did earlier in the season. But at this point, is this not actually the best combination for McLaren? Think about their lineups and when they've been successful, right? Whether it's Lewis Hamilton, Alonso, Mika, and Coulthard. This is potentially the most effective that team has been in 2 decades.
Yeah.
And they do not have a world championship quality driver per se. I think they could if they got behind Piastri. But what they do have is 2 very skilled drivers and a very good car, which seems to be the outlier in the grid this year. I cannot think of another team that has a good car and 2 solid drivers. And that is what's given them the title. Because
Yeah.
when you look at it, it seems with the season that McLaren has had, it seems ridiculous to think that we are how many races into the season now?
18, 19.
Yeah, 18, 19 races in, and Lando's only won 5? That doesn't sound right. It is correct, but it doesn't seem like that should be right, especially when you look at the constructor standings with 650 points to Mercedes 324.
They had, I think it was after Monza, they had more points than Red Bull did in 2023.
Yeah.
No, you've always been right about that, and I've always agreed with it. Is that for the constructors, these are the two drivers you want. The
Right.
drivers is always a different story, though.
Oh, 100% agree. But what I'm saying is for McLaren, a company that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, was on the verge of bankruptcy and had to mortgage all their classic cars just to stay afloat. This is the best opportunity for them because the prize money gets paid out on the constructors. No prize money gets paid out to the drivers' championship.
Yeah, it's bragging rights.
Right? This is it. I mean, yes, if you're a world champion, you get paid more, but that has nothing to do with the teams, right? So this is actually a well orchestrated plan by McLaren to say, screw it. We see what the plan is, basically. We're going to have 2 solid drivers in a decent car, and we're going to sweep the field because everybody else is going for, either chasing a perfect car, which doesn't exist, or they're chasing a perfect driver and they're sacrificing the second seat. But if we can guarantee our drivers are anywhere in the top 3 or top 4 every race, we're going to win the constructors.
There's
Boom. No problem.
It's not bad. That's what I'm saying. It's not bad for them. It's just they're all chasing the drivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always wonder with two, like you say, 2 number 1s or 2 number 2s at the team. Number 1 drivers or number 2 drivers. What's the?
I would say that they're both number 2s.
That's
at the moment.
That's very interesting.
moment.
That's a very interesting comment. At the end of the season, someone will be number 1. You're right.
No, I'm not even saying that.
Well, that's what I'm about to ask. Is where's the direction of the car go without a number 1? And do you not want to rally behind someone who you think can build the car and keep it going forward and keep a direction? I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this in the second half and with Ferrari. That's Ferrari. That's the difference between Ferrari and McLaren is a lack of direction. If you sacrifice if you do what McLaren's doing and sacrifice one for the other to keep them both happy or to keep them both close, at some point, either someone might leave or you might demoralize someone or you're creating an unreality where the winner is not really the winner, is not really a winner type personality, a type A personality. You risk the future doing this. I think they should rally around Oscar because I think from what Stella has hinted, between him and Oscar, they've pushed this car to last in the beginning of 2023 to where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It coincides with Piastri's arrival. With Lando, they were up and down. So do you give up and piss off Oscar or demoralize him or turn him into Mark Webber? Or do you just not pick, or do you pick someone or do you keep doing what you're doing and hope for the best?
Yep.
So, yeah, go on.
And this is just it. You started mentioning it. I think this is Stella's plan. Don't pick a driver, right? They both have the opportunity to be a number 1, technically. Don't pick a driver. They pit themselves against each other, right? Lando thinks he's number 1 because he's been there forever and he's Zach Brown's poster boy.
Exactly.
So he sees Oscar outpacing him at every turn. And he wants to know, what's Oscar doing? How can I use what Oscar's doing and make myself better? Right? Provide that feedback. Use that feedback with the engineers to improve himself, which is great. I love that. Then Oscar sees it and goes, oh, fuck, I could probably do better. And then goes and pushes himself to do better as well. and works with the engineers and works with the team to do that. And from what I've seen and heard from Stella, that doesn't seem unrealistic to me. That seems like something he would want to do. Not necessarily from the psychological standpoint of pitting them against each other, but that guarantees they're getting the best feedback they can from an engineering standpoint to put into the development of the car. Right? This isn't Max says this, so we're going to do that. Forget Pierre, forget Albon, forget Kvyat, forget Vettel, forget everybody else. What Max says goes. Right? This is not what they're doing. They're legitimately looking at two quality drivers who are sharing data and improving a car. This is not a team built around one person. And that's what's going to keep them winning Constructors' Championships if they can maintain it. Now, you have a valid point. Is Oscar going to say, fuck this shit, I'm out?
Yes.
He will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So that is the knife edge that they have to navigate here.
Yeah, I can see the arms race model. It's a good model. The problem with that is we wouldn't see them helping Lando the way they have all season. There would be back and forth. There would be actual fairness. Like, this was not fair to Oscar.
No, again, I'll go back to what I've said previously in the season. They do it with Lando because he needs it.
Okay.
Oscar doesn't need their support.
Okay.
Lando needs that support to stop him from blowing his brains out.
Yeah, but why would you want someone like that on your team, is my question.
Because he does have the talent to be up there. He doesn't need to be a Max Verstappen. He needs to be a George Russell who wants to do better.
So this is McLaren's answer to Toto Wolff, just as an example, not to bring up a discussion. I don't need the next Max Verstappen. I just need a version that's close enough and wants to get better. Essentially, like, that's what they see in Lando.
Yeah, they don't need a number one driver. They need two number twos in a great car. That's their plan.
Yeah, but you said it. They risk losing one of them. Eventually, because that's been my theory. Is eventually you need a number one.
Yeah, and my opinion of this is they fucked up and didn't pick two number twos. They picked what they thought were two number twos, but got a sneaky number one.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. then you're on point. They didn't. I think you're right. I think the way they fought for Oscar. This is what I've been trying to say. I think you just nailed you said it better. Obviously, what I've been trying to say for years. Why fight for Oscar if you thought he would be this? It's because I don't think they thought he would be this good, this fast, or this good at all. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is really a mark on Lando's career. Like, for someone who talked the talk he did, especially, like, I'm just thinking back to 2023. Like, I should be at that Red Bull. I would be beating Max. You have a non-temperamental car. You've had the best car all year, and I think Max has been better.
He'd be in Yuki Tsunoda's place right now.
Exactly.
If that was the case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said. What do you guys think about that? What is that? You guys leave some comments. Let us know what you think about that. Are we onto something there? You've caught fire tonight, Sean, with your theories.
I'm having a good week, Nick.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. One more. I'm going to put someone just in the meh. I'm going to put Max and Red Bull in the meh. They technically did have a good weekend. Kept themselves in the driver's title. Technically, I think it was a missed opportunity, right? They all wanted to win this one for Max, for themselves. I just think they're just too temperamental. There's still some kinks. There's still some chinks in the armor, right? They missed out on the win, but the car's too temperamental. Even still, I think Max would have won that race if he didn't go off. I think it was lap 50, something like that, like lap 48, something like that. Because that undercut, man, the undercut at this track. Did you see how much he gained on George Russell in the undercut?
I didn't see the numbers, no, but it was strong.
George was 13 seconds ahead before Max pit. When George left the pits, Max was 5 seconds behind, and brought it down to 3.5 before George got his tires warm. Whoever's not undercutting at this track is foolish. I think next year we'll see like a race to the bottom. Who can pit first? Lap 1, Haas and Ocon. But yeah, I think that off the track moment, that little mess up by Max, that might have cost him the championship. Still gained 6 points on Oscar, which is key. McLaren made a mistake there, letting Max take even that much off. If Max catches fire, they can be in trouble. There's sprint weekends coming up. But we'll see. This might be the end. This might be the end of Max winning the title talk, but you and I said he'd have to win Singapore and Coda, and he didn't win Singapore, but it wasn't a bad weekend for them. And that's that for me.
The permutations we talked about last week were if Max wins everything and Lando comes in second, Max wins. But clearly that's not the case. Clearly we still have other people in the mix, right? George is going to pop up. We may see yet a Hamilton and a Leclerc enter the chat. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Antonelli might pull another podium or a win, in a sprint race, whatever the case may be. The point here is that this is not a two-way title fight of Max and Norris. We still have Piastri, who's an extremely strong contender. So the single permutation of Max winning everything is really irrelevant. We have the potential for at least a four-way fight to the end of the season.
And you're including George.
Unfortunately, yes. He's going to be in the fight. He's not going to win it. Don't get me wrong.
No, but he'll be the one who throws the wrench in everybody's play. Yeah.
He'll go and do something like win Brazil again, right?
Yeah, or Vegas.
Yeah. Or be the fly in the ointment in Abu Dhabi that separates Max and Piastri.
Ooh, wouldn't that be cute?
As long as he doesn't cause a safety car that then leads to Max winning.
Oh. Max's first and last title won that way. If that happens again, he should retire. He should retire.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, that I think wraps up the good, right?
Yep, I think so.
All right. We'll be back for the bad.